I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Kate was in yesterday. They're tomorrow's duck. Weren't you? Were you in tomorrow's duck already? She's getting it started on us already. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is episode 361 of the Political Spotlight. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. It is Sunday, fun day. We are back to work. It is the first day of the getting back to work and being here on a nightly basis. It's always like going back to school or whatnot. You're like, I've been looking forward to it. And then tonight I was like, and here's what I've been doing. I've been making the shows for tomorrow. I was making the live on location for the commissioners meeting tomorrow morning. And I was making the Muncie City Council meeting for tomorrow night. And in the process of making tomorrow's show, and about 10 minutes before go time, I was like, crap, I've not even made tonight's show. So for those of you that love the thumbnail, I'm sorry, we don't have a thumbnail. I'll get a thumbnail up at the end of the show. For those of you that like a title, sorry, no title, no description. We're winging it tonight. Welcome 2025. Hey, folks, thank you for being here. We appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time. We understand how valuable it is, and we thank you for being here. As always, I would like to ask you to please give us a like, help us feed the algorithm, gods or algorithm, whatever they are, the things that make the YouTube and Facebook and all of that shit go round and round. So if you could give us a click on the button and hit that like button, we would greatly appreciate it. That would be fantastic. There that thing is. And then also, please continue, for those of you that have not, or you're new here, maybe, I don't know who that would be. But if you're new here, please give us a click on all of our socials. Find us on the Facebooks and Twitter and TikTok and everything else. I've been experimenting around with TikTok. I know it's the worst thing in the world. So we just recently were elevated to where we can go live on TikTok for long periods of time, and to be eligible to open like all of the things that I can be eligible for, you have to hit these milestones. Like you have to go live 3 days in a row. And so we just have barely done that. We've got one more day. We've got to go live. I had to go live for a 30-minute window straight. and I did that. I did that the other day while I was taking a nap. I was like, I just went live and I held the thing up. I don't know what anybody did. I think I dropped the phone a couple times. I bent down, picked it back up. But I'm just trying to get all that stuff out of the way so then we can utilize that the same way that we do all of this. So we will be there soon. I don't know. I think it's just in time for them to ban TikTok in America. So we'll be there, but it is what it is. So yeah, I always tell everybody that if you follow me on Facebook and X, I generally will post things there earlier in the day that I plan to talk about in the evening. So that's a way for you to kind of get a little bit of understanding about what the nightly shows will be about. Not always, but frequently. So all right, folks, that's that. Hey, it's Sunday night, which means it's Sunday night, the first weekend of the month. Tomorrow's the first Monday of the month, and that means there are a lot of meetings that are going on, and there are a lot of meetings that will be happening tomorrow. I've been setting up my new calendars for the year, getting the monthly meetings set. And it's kind of hard right now because everybody has to get through the first meeting to approve the rest of the year, basically. So tomorrow, the City Council of Muncie, for example, will approve the entire year's worth of regularly stated meetings. So like we assume that it will be the first Monday of each month, barring that it's not a holiday, and we will assume that it will be 7 p.m. I don't foresee that changing, but it could, I guess, if somebody wanted to be a sly dog, they could come in and do something a little crazy, but I don't foresee that changing, so I feel pretty confident in that. What else? The commissioner meets tomorrow. The Randolph County commissioners meet. I do believe that they either are looking at changing their meetings or updating. I think that they're going to push their meetings back by an hour. It's something that I've heard. So I think instead of them being at 9 o'clock, I think they will be at 10 o'clock. That's not any better. Matter of fact, it's worse because, at least I've told people who, want to get involved and want to go to meetings and are everybody, I'm of the opinion that all public meetings should be held in the evening when the majority of the people work. Now, listen, I understand there are people that work seconds. There are people that work thirds. There are people that work 12-hour shifts. And, they're like, well, what about us? I get it. I understand. But the majority of the people, a lot of people work a shift to where they could attend public meetings at 6 or 7 o'clock if they would be held. However, having a meeting at 9 a.m., it's stupid. It's bad. They should not do it. But at least if you wanted to call off the first part of the day and attend hey, I'll be in 2 hours late to work today, that's doable. But with Randolph County, if they're actually going to move their meetings to 10, that makes it a little tougher because that's just more time. It's just nonsense. So I don't understand why that would be happening. I don't know what the deal is there, but we'll have to see. So that's that. Delaware County. I do have word because one of the problems with the Delaware County commissioners, and I know that there are a couple people that have asked this. Jackie, if you're watching, I know that you've been concerned about this in the past, but the Delaware County commissioners, for as long as I've known, have not used an agenda that they publish for us. They don't publish an agenda that we see, at least. And so I text Stephen Brand. I text Stephen Brand and I said, hey, just FYI, do you have an agenda for tomorrow? Because I figured if he did, he would give me a copy of it. And he apologized. He said, yes, I do. They have not set me up on the email system yet. That will all be done tomorrow. He said, I have a hard copy, but unfortunately, it's not with me. It's on my desk at the commissioner's office at the county building. So he said, I am so sorry. He said, I walked out without it. He said, after tomorrow, he'll be able to provide it to me. But he said, this is something that I'm going to bring up. Let me read you directly from his message, because I want to let people know this. This is good. Listen, so far, everything that I've seen from Stephen Brand, chef's kiss, amazing, wonderful. So far, in the couple of months from November until now, he has already acted in the capacity that is far more of a public servant commissioner, just a heads and shoulders above James King, Shannon Henry, and or Sherry Reagan combined. So if he continues in the way that he has been acting, things are going to be better than in Delaware County, at least from the commissioner standpoint. Now, he's just one vote. He's just one vote. So, you got to take that for what it is. But I think that I am pleasantly surprised, and I am very optimistic, and we'll just leave it at that. But I said, hey, what's the deal with this? He said, I plan to bring this up tomorrow. Things not being posted. I have a hard copy on my desk at the county building. Sorry, the county email's not set up on my phone yet. That'll all be done. But so, hey, I think that's wonderful. They have a full-time 40-hour-a-week secretary. There is absolutely no bloody reason why they cannot get it posted on the website and on the Facebook page monthly. It should be, I don't know. It is what it is. Puppy says, I think at least every other month, maybe an evening. Yeah, look, that would be that would be not a bad thing. Henry County does something like that. So Henry County, their commissioners meeting. So in Indiana, the county council meets once a month, and the commissioners meet twice a month. And in Henry County, the Henry County commissioners meet the first meeting at 11 a.m., which is, again, kind of a horrible time. But then the second meeting of the month, they meet at 6 p.m. So while the 11 a.m. meeting is not so good, they do meet once a month at 6 p.m. So they do give an option to kind of, everybody there, which is good. The other thing I have to say is they work all the time. They call a bunch of special meetings. They call a bunch of working workshops, commissioners' working meetings. And so they do that, and they do them all over the time. Sometimes they're at 2 o'clock. Sometimes they're at 4 o'clock. Sometimes they're at 6 o'clock. Sometimes they're at 9 o'clock. It really just depends. But that's something that's good. Okay, I'm getting a message right now that says it is on the website. Let me see here. Let me pull this up here right now and see. Delaware County, Indiana Commissioners website. Let me see. Yeah, we'll see. And listen, I want to say something to you guys. Let me see here. All right, Delaware County Commissioners, officials, county commissioners. Okay. Agendas and minutes. Commissioners. Okay, here's the commissioners meeting agenda, Monday, January 6th, 2025, 9 a.m. Now, all right, awesome. This, it was not up whenever I was, I guess on Thursday. I don't think it was up Thursday, so that's my bad, because they are really hit and miss putting them up. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. The council always has pretty well, but the commissioners have always been kind of funky. Okay, so I want to show you this. Wow, I've never seen this before. I've always went back in, and if I've ever looked at the commissioners' agendas or whatnot, it's always been afterwards. It's always been when I've been looking something up. So I'm rather happy to see this. Let's see here. Okay, here it's blown up so you guys can see this. This is I guess this is important to do this because this is actually the first meeting of tomorrow. So this is what the Delaware County Commissioners meeting will be about, and we will be live streaming the meeting right here on this channel. So you can watch the meeting here. The Delaware County, Indiana government will also be live streaming it. Now, listen, for anybody that is listening to this that has any pull on what goes on with the live streaming, if you have not went and listened to the council meeting from just on Thursday on the 2nd, the audio was pure garbage, absolutely garbage. If you were someone watching the meeting at home, there were big pauses. So, for example, when Matt Kantz made the nomination of himself for president, and the auditor said, we've got a motion, or, they were looking for a second. To anybody that was watching that at home, either in real time or afterwards, it was as if there was no second given. So when I was literally watching that at home, I was like, damn it, nobody gave him a second. And then the next thing I heard, they were voting between Whitehead and Kantz. So I was like, what? Somebody must have gave him a second. So that was interesting. So then let me tell you another example. While they're doing the vote, they're doing the vote, and you don't hear Jessica cast a vote. You can see her sitting there. You can see her looking. You can see her mouth move at one point, but no words come out. So I thought, once that vote was going through, I thought, what happened there? So Matt Kantz only got one vote. That was himself. I don't think that you could hear Mokel vote. Maybe you could, but maybe I was like, did Jessica not vote? It was very strange. The audio has been very shitful from the Delaware County perspective, and I don't understand. You could have me go in there. I would charge you $0, and I would set that up. Somebody, for as much as Mark Slusher's getting paid, this is unexcusable. And like we talked about on here the other day, you can watch a meeting. You can watch a meeting with no camera, but you cannot, and people will not tune in if it's every other word, if it's hit and miss. I mean, imagine if you were listening to this then I was talking, and then the next thing you knew, then people just will not when it's cutting in and out. That's just, don't do that. When you have piss poor audio, people will not listen. Camera, you can have bad camera. You could have a still picture. You could have a black screen, but you cannot have piss poor audio. And looky here, Roger Overby, listen, I am not somebody that is good at this stuff. I have walked backwards into everything that I do. Roger Overby is a master at that stuff. And he did well for years. And listen, he didn't even have, at the time he was using his equipment, which his equipment was nice, but because of the county's amount of money they've spent, they dropped some really good money on making a whole, producer's box and all of this stuff. And then for us to be getting the audio that we're getting, it's just insane. So that needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed. Bluetooth mics would work better than what they have now. Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be fixed. Okay, going back to this. So we will be live streaming it, but don't shoot us if the audio is what it is. Hopefully that'll be addressed soon. I know that the city has had some issues with that, and amazingly, it's the same guy. It's the same guy, the city and the county. Who would have thought? You know what I mean? Okay, so Delaware County Commissioners meeting agenda tomorrow to be held in the same room it's been held out for many, many years, 100 West Main Street. Meetings will also be live streamed via the Delaware County, Indiana government YouTube channel, as well as the political spotlight. Here. Comments may be made to the commissioners via their email at commissioners@co.delaware.in.us. Monday, January 6th, 2025, 9 a.m. order of business. And just put in the suggestion that maybe once a month, once every other month, one of the meetings is held in the evening so people that work could attend. That would be lovely. Just trying to think outside of the box here, trying to meet the public where they are would be an awesome thing. Call to order, pledge to the flag. That's weird. Roll call, reorganization, public hearings, appointments, annual appointments, miscellaneous board appointments, tabled business, handbook revisions. Pam McCammon. Hopefully we'll see some action here with Pam McCammon. I don't know. Ordinance number 2024-033, an ordinance approving amendments to the county personnel handbook. That's, of course, information being handled over from last year. Approval of minutes, commissioners meeting December 16th, 2024. Commissioner special meeting December 30th, 2024. Presentations, contracts, or agreements for approval. Absolute title for deed sales service, Stephen Brand. 911 Center chair lease, Fred Cummings. Delaware County Commissioners meeting order of business Monday. Okay, page 2. Ordinances for first reading. Ordinances for second reading. Look at what is this? So my question is, are there no ordinances, or are they not putting them on here? I'm just so not familiar with seeing a commissioner's agenda that this is like this one's here. So I would assume that there's just none for tomorrow, which would make sense. Old business, solar moratorium, Stephen Brand. Look, he's bringing it up. We're going to hear about it. Let me tell you, folks, I strongly believe wait. Wait. What are you talking about? Those 911 chairs are around $2,500 each, and they are leased. Holy hell. That's insane. Stephen Brand's bringing up this that's good. Yeah. Stephen Brand's bringing up this solar moratorium. I want to tell everybody something. What we saw play out last Thursday, that whole ordeal between Kance and Whitehead, and the whole ordeal where the Republican Party counselors met in a clandestine meeting, which is gross. Listen, don't have those. Don't have meetings where you have to softball what's going to happen in a public meeting tomorrow. Just go in blind and let the shit play out the way it's supposed to. Nothing is wrong with letting things play out the way that they're supposed to. You know, you can be just as surprised as we are. We don't have to get in behind a single person and have it all nice and neat. You know, politics isn't always nice and neat and whatnot. You know what I mean? We don't need to do that. So I want to tell you that what we saw happen the other day is all because a big chunk of it, in my mind, the solar moratorium. Matt Kance came out against the solar moratorium, similar to how Ryan Webb had done. And so I'm excited to see. I don't know what Brand is going to talk about, what Brand is bringing up here, but I'm interested to see what this is. It'll be interesting. I'll tell you, for those of you that have not seen this, I do want to show you really quickly before we move on. I saw this was going around the other day. Yeah, this was just yesterday. Look at this. Look at this. This is scary. So this was yesterday at 5:08. It says solar is still on the move in Delaware County. And this is gross because we do have a solar moratorium in place. Some of our friends in the Royerton area have recently received this mailer. It appears that National Grid Renewables plans to make visits to adjoining individuals' properties. After consulting with legal counsel, we wanted to share some important information with you and encourage you to also pass it along to your neighbors. If your property borders the proposed solar facility in the Royerton project, you may have received a flyer from National Grid Renewables requesting a meeting to discuss your role in the project. The counselor has advised that you should not sign anything until you are fully aware of your rights and the potential consequences of any agreement. If you do choose to meet with National Grid Renewables, you are within your rights and advised to record the conversation. Additionally, the counselor has made themselves available to answer any questions or concerns, offering an initial consultation free of charge. If you would like assistance in connecting with them, please let us know. We want to ensure that as many people as possible receive this important information, folks. And this is important. Listen, they sent this out to our neighbors, our citizens. National Grid Renewables, Royerton Solar, upcoming visit. To hell with your upcoming visit. We're excited to discuss your involvement in Royerton Solar and how your property plays an important role in its success. What if we don't want its success? We plan to visit your property between January 9th and February 7th. Well, let me tell you, those dates fall within the solar moratorium. So while, look, I've said from the beginning, all this did was allow James King to get out of the door without having to hear from anyone going up every 2 weeks and telling him we don't want solar. Okay. It was a win because anything stopping it, whatever, but it is kicking the can down the road because they're still in the planning. They're still planning. They're still doing their thing. So when they come to your house, listen, I very much appreciate the person who posted this. I don't know who it was. It was one of the solar people. But I want to be clear. They are under the advice of counsel. And so they're going to be careful in things they say because they have an attorney. I'm going to be very clear because this just tells you Indiana is a one-party consent state. So if you are in a conversation with anybody in Indiana, inside your home, out in the public, wherever, you have the absolute right to record. One-party consent means your voice just has to be on the recording as part of the conversation. Okay? Now, all that means is I wouldn't tell these people anything. I would tell these people to go shove it. Also, I would like to hear what they had to say. So I'm going to tell you, if you want to tell these people to take a hike, have at it. But I would be interested in what they've got to say. So here's what I would do. I would, especially if you're married, you got 2 or 3 phones, husband, wife, a tablet, I would set that up everywhere. I would turn on my phone, my wife's phone, the tablet. I would have that place wired for sound. You know what I mean? And I would record every single minute of it. Don't wait. If you're going to set up an appointment with them, start recording before they get there. You don't want to miss any of it. And all you need to do is welcome them into your home or wherever and say, hello, thank you. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. And then that's your part. Let them speak. You don't have to answer anything more for that recording to be legal. Let them say what they're going to say. You can listen to it for as long as you want to listen to it. You can tell them to leave and to hit the road whenever you so choose. Do not sign anything. I don't care if you're for solar, if you're yay rah solar. Don't sign anything on your first meeting. Definitely don't sign anything such as an NDA, a non-disclosure. Don't sign anything until you talk to an attorney. My God, until you read things. Don't be sold on anything. Just listen and record that. And I would definitely tell you that. But you need to be talking to your elected officials and letting them know. They're going to tell you things like, who knows what they're going to tell you? Maybe don't tell people we talked, whatever. You have a right to do whatever you want to do. As long as you don't sign a non-disclosure, you're not doing anything that's illegal. They can't tell you not to tell people. You can do whatever you want. But just know that this stuff is still going on in Delaware County. Just because there is a moratorium in place doesn't mean their wheels aren't turning and they're not still cranking the gears and they're still not doing what it needs to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Make him take you to dinner. Tell him that, you guys, you have lots of different food allergies and the only place that you can eat safely is Ruth's Chris down in Indy, and make them wine and dine you. And, sit there and record the whole thing. Tell them your back hurts. They need to send you down there in a limousine. Yeah, absolutely. Get as much out of them as you can. That would be more than fine. But it'll be interesting to see what is brought up at the meeting tomorrow. So I'm going to live stream the thing, but I'm also going to go I'm going to be there in person, because I don't want to count on the microphones working tomorrow. So I don't want to miss what's said. The other thing that I'm interested in tomorrow, going back to the agenda, the other thing that I'm interested in is backing up here where it talks about contracts or agreements for approval. Right now, it's just got these two things here, so it doesn't mention anything else. Nothing's talked about there. It's talking about annual appointments and things. Well, we didn't hear. I asked the question during the council meeting. It was asked, and then we heard Mr. Bookout start to answer it, and it was gobbledygook. But I've talked to a couple people, so I have a roundabout idea of what he said. And basically what he said was his at least one contract that he has is currently expired. So my brain goes to, all right, well, if it's currently expired, does that mean that you're going to be taking it back before the commissioners? Is your wife going to be taking it back before the commissioners? I'm very interested into what's going to be happening with Bookout and how much money he's going to be making off the county, if any, while he's making money from taxpayers as an elected county councilor. I will tell you, my belief is the only money the Bookout should be making, or his household should be making from the county, is the money that comes from serving as a councilman. I do not believe that for the entirety of his time on the council this go around, I don't think that he should be a contract employee in any way. I don't think his wife should be a contract employee. I just don't think that he should make money off the county. I'll put it to you this way. I don't think that he should make hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's just my thought there. I don't know. Maybe they'll talk about it tomorrow. Maybe they won't. We don't know. We'll see. All right, moving on. Okay, solar moratorium. They'll then go into the department heads and elected officials, weekly, monthly, and quarterly reports, weights and measures, December 2024, payment of claims, $4,221,725.75, payment of ARP claims, $1 million. All right, payment of false settlement. Look there. Okay, payment of payroll. 12/18/24. So we see what's going on there. Public comments, questions, or other business and discussion. All public comments are limited to 3 minutes, and speaker must sign in before. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this real quick, and hopefully this will be addressed tomorrow. All public comments are limited to 3 minutes, and speaker must sign in before 9 a.m. No, that's nonsense. If I don't get to that meeting until 9:30 and the public comments are at 10:30, you better bet your ass I'm going to make a scene if I'm for some reason barred from speaking. Okay, that's ignorant. All right, so that needs to come off there. That needs to come off there. What this needs to say is public comments, questions, or other business discussion. All public comments it should say all public comments are limited to an appropriate amount of time. If someone's speaking and they're not repetitive and it makes a point and they go for 5 minutes, okay, no big deal. I just wouldn't be harsh on that 3 minutes. But I'll say, people know who I am. So I'll get up and say Kristopher Bilbrey. I say that. I'm never going to tell you where I'm from. I'm never going to tell you what my address is. I'm broadcasting from inside Delaware County as we speak. But moreover, I could be from Seattle, Washington. And if I'm an American citizen and I want to speak, I'm going to. That's just the way it is. So that stuff needs to come off there. That's stupid. Recess. Okay. And then the next commissioners meeting will be Tuesday, January 21st. And the reason it'll be Tuesday, the 21st is because of a holiday. Is it Martin Luther King Day? I think it's Martin Luther King Day is the 20th. Or no. Is it? Wait. The 20th is the presidential election or inauguration rather. But I don't know what the what is the 21st?
MLK Day is
that's what I thought was Monday
the 20th too.
Okay, yeah. Well, wow, look at that. Good.
Oh, the
good.
irony of the most racist president ever being inaugurated on MLK Day.
Hey, speaking of that, I want have you been watching what's been going on with the channel here? So after Thursday's show, remember I went on kind of a rant Thursday about
I don't remember much of last week. I didn't get a lot of sleep with grandbabies in the house.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Look at this real quick. Okay, so
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, this is good. So tell me if this sounds familiar to you. So last week I was talking about the Delaware County Council, the Republicans of the Delaware County Council, and I was talking about them, that they are the ones that are the waste and abuse, and how many of them look at Trump as a hero, and Trump's coming in to do all of that. Remember that rant?
I remember that.
Okay, well, I thought, all right, it sounds good as a little short, so I made it a short over the weekend.
Oh,
okay, no. This is hilarious. All right, so listen to this 60 seconds. It's not even 60 seconds. It's like 52 seconds. Listen to this. What's happening here? Oh, no, that's not what I want to happen. Okay, here we go. You're supposed to be Republicans, right? You love Donald Trump, right? You want Donald Trump to come in and clean up. You like Doge because you want to get rid of waste and abuse. Let me tell you, idiots, something. You're the waste and abuse. If you extrapolate yourselves out and put yourselves in federal government, you're the waste and abuse that your hero is writing in to get rid of. How about that? How about that? How does that work? Isn't that amazing? Okay, now, obviously, for all of you that watch the show, you know that me, as a conservative, libertarian, constitutionally minded person, fan of Trump, voted for Trump, everything's good there. You know that I'm not talking about Americans who voted for Trump. I guess I didn't really think about how this sounded to people that might see this with no context whatsoever. Look at some of these comments.
Oh, Lord.
And when I say these comments, I mean every single comment. Look at this. So this just happened to be a short that the algorithm picked it up, and it got blasted out. And so look at some of these comments are great. Oh, how joyful you sound. Cry me a freaking river. The Trump derangement syndrome is strong with this one. Dude, you're just word vomiting. You should listen to yourself. Nah, bro, you're just lashing out because we are ridding of you types. Ridding the country of you types. Oh, no. This is the most immature male I have ever witnessed. LOL. Wow, bro, chill on the hate spewing. You just called 77 million people waste and abuse. Why? Because we secured our border, Because we had 7 million new
Turned
jobs
out
and
of
more
context,
opportunities.
it sounds like you do have.
I know.
Yes.
I know. I went in there.
You didn't even think of it.
I know. I went
You
in.
know what you're talking about.
I've almost thought
7
about
people specifically.
Say again.
You're talking about 7 people specifically.
I'm talking about 7. I'm throwing Ed in there too. I'm talking about a lot of the Delaware County Republicans.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't talk about yourself like this. Nobody cares. You lost. So I went back through and I commented to all of those people saying, sorry, listen, wait a minute. You're taking this out of context. And I told them, which is hilarious. But so I think that's funny.
Did anybody reply back to you?
Yeah, a couple people. One of them replied back, still not understanding, I think, what I was saying. And then one of the people got on there is one of those people that are so it's crazy because everybody knows that I'm not big on the whole auditor thing. But then the only other thing worse than the auditors are the people that are the frauditor people, the people that go out looking to bash the auditors. And so I've got one of those people on there that's like, coming after me, but it's hilarious. Let's see here. This comment says, sign in should be allowed until last person has spoken. Then you ask for any. Yeah, right. That's one thing I have to say about the council. The council does right. Has done as of late that they do that. So hopefully, listen. I feel like with Brand on the commissioners, things are going to be okay. Hopefully that'll be changed. We'll see. I guess they can keep it as long as they don't hold anybody to it. But I just don't see the need of having that on there, because then what happens is somebody reads that and somebody thinks they're going to go, but then they're like, well, wait a minute, I can't show up until 9:30. So they're like, well, I just won't go anyways. So they need to take that off there, because it could stop people from even attending. And Tweety Bird says, how do you expect them to know you were talking about? Well, I would hope maybe they would get on and read the description and kind of see what it's about. Cause I did post a description with it, but it's at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. I think it's funny. I'm not butthurt by it. I think it's hilarious. I always like it when I'm too Republican for the Republicans and the Democrats, and I'm too Democrat for the Democrats and the Republicans. Nobody. I don't fit in any space, which I'm perfectly fine with. So that's that. That's the Delaware County agenda for tomorrow. Then, of course, the Muncie city government meets tomorrow. I did tell everybody for a couple episodes last week that the Muncie City Council meeting starts tomorrow at 7 p.m. It does not. The meeting tomorrow starts at 6:45. There will be a public hearing that starts at 6:45. So the meeting will start 15 minutes early. Okay. There is also a tax abatement committee meeting that starts at 6:30. So for anybody that is interested in the full experience tomorrow, I'll show you this here. So here is the Muncie City Council. First and foremost, tomorrow at 6:30, there will be a public meeting at 6:30, and your tax abatement committee members are Nora Powell, Roe Selby and William McIntosh. Their discussion will be of tax abatement for Phillips, pattern, and casting. And this will be tied to Resolution 1-25. Okay. So that will be at 6:30 tomorrow inside Muncie City Hall. From there, the meeting will then start. The public hearing will start at 6:45. And first up, okay, we'll get into this. First up, they will discuss at Ordinance 22-25, an ordinance to vacate a certain public alley in the John J. Perkins addition to the city of Muncie, Delaware County, Indiana. If anybody wants to show up and speak in favor or against that or has anything to say, 6:45 is your time. Okay. And then okay, I don't know what goes on here. Okay, then I guess, I mean, I don't know. Then it says at 7 p.m. they're going to start. I don't know why they wouldn't just do this. I don't understand what they've done with this, what they've done with the agenda here. They should have just done public hearing 6:45 and heard ordinance 2-25, 29-24, 30-24, 31-24, 32-24. But they put, I don't know what they're doing here, but whatever. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 ordinances that will be heard in the public hearing section. And what that is they will read the ordinance and then they will allow citizens to come up and speak. They will not answer any questions. It's just to allow the public a chance to be heard. And this is a time where you can't go up and speak about anything willy-nilly. You have to go up and speak about these issues in this public hearing. At the end of this, they will then close this out and we will go into the regular meeting of the Muncie City Council. That will start at 7 p.m. or as soon as those meetings are done, roughly around there somewhere. They will go through the Pledge of Allegiance, the invocation, citizen recognition, roll call. They will go through their reorganizational meeting, which, like the Delaware County Council, they've already done. And we will get to see the farce of them voting for who the president's going to be and the vice president, yada, yada, yada. So that's fun. So they'll take care of that and the reading secretary. I still don't have a bead on who the reading secretary is going to be. I kind of think I could see them putting Sarah Gullion, retaining Sarah Gullion as the reading secretary. I don't know. We'll see. Appointments to boards and commissions. They will then go through their appointments to various boards. And I'm going to say again for the record, Nora Powell, it seems as if Nora Powell wants to remove Roe Selby from the Riverfront Project Review Committee. And I am not for that. Leave Roe Selby on there. If Nora wants a seat on that committee, she can have her significant other step off and the council can appoint her in his spot and she can be on there with Roe. What I am not okay for and what I'm not okay with and what I don't think should happen, I do not believe that Nora should be put on a board where her significant other also has a vote. And it's not just Nora. I would say that if it was Jerry Dishman and his wife, or I would say that if it was Roe and her boyfriend, or I would say that if that was anybody else, I would say that because that just shouldn't be happening. I don't believe that you should have a husband and a wife on a board or something like that. I just don't think that's that. So Tweety Bird, I want to be clear. When you see other councils in other meetings answer the public's questions, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're doing what you think they would be doing. And during the regular meeting, that should be happening. When citizens are going up and speaking during the ordinances or during the public comments, and when citizens are addressing their public servants, the public servants should be answering. Muncie should be doing that. Delaware County should be doing that. What I was talking about there was during the public hearing. So there's two different sections. During the public hearing, the council does not speak. And at those council meetings that you were watching, if they were having a public hearing portion, they wouldn't be answering either. The public hearing is the time that by law, they have to allow the citizens to come up and to speak on the issue at hand. And they allow them to come up and speak for, against, or whatever. And it's just to get that information out and so the citizens can be heard. Then once the public hearing is closed, they go into the public meeting, and those topics will then be discussed in that public regular meeting. And then that's when the citizens can come back up and can ask the questions or say, hey, could I get an answer on that? But that's when that is. But yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. You know, yeah, Indianapolis, if anybody ever watches the meetings in Indianapolis, they answer citizens. Muncie used to. What happened at some point? Here's the thing. At some point, these people that have ran for elected office, I said this about Jessica Piper the other day, that Jessica likes everything about being an elected official that gives her status. It makes her feel important. It makes her feel like she has reached some level in society where she is bigger and better than just the regular Tom, Dick, or Harry, her neighbor, or you, or me. She likes powwowing around with her friends that are also elected officials. She likes, going to these little get-togethers and these breakfasts and the dinners and doing all of this. She likes being in the know. I think she likes to be in the know. She likes the power. I think she likes the money that she gets off of it. And she knows people and, big people, she gets to hang around people that are on TV and, they're in Washington, DC. She likes all that stuff. But she doesn't like anything about the actual job of being a public servant. She does not like the service aspect of being a public servant. And now I'm kind of being unfair when I say Jessica Piper, because it's not just Jessica Piper. It's so many others. There are a lot of them that do not like Karen, we went over this and over this and over this. I call it's, to me, that word is that word is interchangeable. I use both of them. I'm when I call them a public official, I've said this before, what I'm doing is I am denoting that there is a difference between them and the secretary that answers the phone in the clerk's office, because they're all government employees. They're all public servants. A police officer and a fireman is a public servant, but a police officer and a fireman isn't, in my eyes, and maybe that's different than others. I don't see the lady that's working in the auditor's office the same way that I see an elected public servant. They're both public servants. It's kind of like this. It's like using little o or big O. I am not giving them status by calling them an official. A referee at a football game is an official. That doesn't mean anything. I'm not giving them status through that. I'm just denoting that it's different than the other public servant that happens to be the janitor of the building. And people might not like that. People might be like, "Oh, there are no differences." Well, yeah, there is a difference, because they were elected to be there. They are in this position, and it is a position of power. It is a position of power that the collective public have voted and given them that power. We have let them borrow the power of that office. And so that's the only reason. That's the reason that I'm not reading from anywhere in the Constitution. I'm just speaking. Again, I'm saying I'm differentiating between the person who is there, taking the property tax money.
It's hired versus elected.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, right there. That's hired.
That's the simplest explanation.
That's probably the simplest.
Hired versus elected.
Yeah, and
all of public servants, the ones that are elected, also get the word official, so we know we're talking about an elected person and not someone who's hired.
And now see, when I say I would also give maybe. I was trying to think, because I was thinking about this before. I would also maybe give like the department head, like I would look at a department head as a city official. Like if I'm talking about Amber, or if I'm talking about
elected and appointed versus hired.
Yeah, appointed. Yeah, that could be right. Elected and appointed versus hired. But they are definitely all servants. Public servants, and I definitely get where you're coming from, Karen. I'm definitely not giving them any status when I say that whatsoever. But yeah, that's a good way. Thank you, Kate. That's a good way. Elected and appointed versus hired, and so I am looking at that a little bit different, and they are all bound by oath. And well, now some hired people have an oath and some don't. But yeah. No, all servants. Do people know when using official, the people hold all the power? I don't know who knows that. I would hope all people know that. They should. That's the whole purpose of the show, is making sure people know that they are the ones that are in power. The point that I'm getting to, though, is with that it's not just Piper. There's a whole lot of them that are also that same way, and it's just this thing where they feel like they don't owe you an explanation. If they stand here and give you an explanation, here's what it boils down to. Here's what it comes down to, Tweety Bird. And people know that I liked how Jeff Robinson ran meetings. Okay. Don't necessarily agree with his politics, but I liked how Jeff ran meetings. And the reason I say that is because he didn't shut people down. He allowed the public to speak. I felt as though he met the public where they were, and he would get, he never said, I'm holding you to 3 minutes. He would say, try to keep it to around 3 minutes, and I can respect that. But Jeff is one of those guys that would say the public comment time is your time to speak. And, all of these people that get into this idea that we can talk one-on-one, we can talk one-on-one behind the scenes. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, we can talk when the meeting is over. And I'm okay. I'm like, good. I'm glad. Thank you for allowing me to know that I can reach out and talk to you, outside of a meeting. But I also want to talk to you at the meeting on the record. And when I'm asking you a question in front of everybody and the camera is rolling and we're live streaming and all 200 people are here listening, or all 12 people are here listening, or all 2 people are here listening, however many people it is, or maybe it's just me, I want your answer on the record. Because when you tell it to me off in a little hushed voice off the side of the room when the meeting is closed, or when you call me on the phone, you can always say, I didn't say it like that, Or if you say it to me in a phone call and I record you, I've literally had elected officials tell me that I've changed the recording. I've edited it to make it say things. Bullshit. I have never, the only thing that I have ever done is edit for, time, length, brevity, and who am I to say that? But that's the only thing I've ever done. I've taken a conversation that's been a 30-minute conversation and I've cut it down to the 5 minutes, because it didn't matter about hearing about, the goat eating the key and, kicking the bucket and doing all this stuff. None of that stuff mattered. What mattered was, I only vote the way that Phil Nichols tells me to vote. That's what matters. And when I do edit for that, I always keep the original long copy and the edit so people can hear. I have never, ever, unless for a satirical piece, which I have labeled as satirical, I have never cut somebody's words to make them say something that they did not say. Anything I have ever put out, and I don't put out lots of things like that because I don't, I used to have this reputation of Bilbrey records everybody. You would really be shocked at how little I record anything. Honestly, it's comical. But I have never taken someone's words and rearranged them to make some other kind of context. And so that's that. But that's the thing. Even if you talk to them on the phone and you record it, or you record them standing there, they're like, oh, that's been edited. Okay, well, let's avoid this. Why don't I ask you questions on the record at the medium while I'm at the podium and in your seat? You say it on the record, it's in the minutes, and there, boom, bang, pow. There is no editing. There is no changing anything. It is right there what it is. So, yeah, I think we need to get back to that. I think this is something that people could do if they would talk to candidates, if candidates would actually go around and be heard, talking about Stephen Brand through the campaign multiple times. I've talked to Stephen and told him things that I took issue with and told him things that I would like to see and various other things. I'll tell you, when he was leading the Muncie Sanitary District meetings, he used to say, come up to the podium and give your name and address and speak your time. And I called him and I said, hey, I texted him and said, that's not a good thing. And he, I thought he's not going to respond or he's going to tell me whatever. And you know what he said? He said, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm not going to do it again. Look at that. And he didn't do it again, so that now listen, everything I say to him, he's not going to do. We're not going to agree on every single thing, but someone that's willing to have a conversation there, it is what it is. So that's that. Getting back to this meeting here. Let's see here. Okay. So they'll go down through here. They're going to do all of this. And then I don't know if we went over this or not. I don't know if we did or not. They will go over their the dates and stuff. We talked about that. The committee reports, and then we'll go into ordinances previously introduced, which means they will be hearing those ordinances for the second time. This vote will be the vote to where it will be voted in. Okay, so this will be the ordinance amending Chapter 77, the parking regulation. Now, look, this. We're going to see some fireworks between the clerk's office and maybe the police department. See it between the clerk's office and the mayor's office. I'm telling you, I have heard scuttlebutt from all over City Hall that the clerk's office, meaning the clerk, and the mayor are like at absolute odds. They do not get along. They do not like one another. And I think we're going to see some fireworks from the clerk's office based on this being on there. But I don't know. We'll time will tell. Ordinance 3924, an ordinance repealing Chapter 55 of this is the whole cable television thing. 40 is the same. 41 is entitled Waste and Litter. Waste and Litter. What did I say? Waste and Litter. Care of premises. 4224 is an ordinance to amend the City of Muncie comprehensive zoning ordinance from the R5 resident zone to the BV variety business zone for the 4,000 block of North Morrison. Okay, so that's all that stuff is old stuff. We'll then go into new ordinances, which is Ordinance 125, and ordinance amending Chapters 159 of the floodplain management of the Muncie Code of Ordinances. So that'll be heard. And then Ordinance 225, which is what we heard up there on the vacating the alleyway. And then we go into Resolution 125, which is one of the that tax abatement thing that they will meet to talk about, and they'll tell whether they give a favorable recommendation or not a favorable recommendation. So they'll decide on that. And then resolution of the Common Council, City of Muncie, Indiana, approving the fiscal plan and definitive policy for the annexation of property contiguous to the City of Muncie pursuant to Ordinance 3124 and 3224. And then we will go into the tabled ordinances, which tabled Ordinance 12-24 and Ordinance amended Ordinance 2423, fixing the maximum salaries of each and every appointed officer, employee, deputy assistant, departmental institution head of the City of Muncie, Indiana, included herein for 2024. Okay. And I think, is that the AFSCME thing? I think that might be AFSCME. Matter will be deemed withdrawn if no action is taken. And so let's see here. Table. Yeah, this has to be either voted on, taken off the table and voted on, or it'll go away if they don't act on this tomorrow. Then 2724, an ordinance to amend the City of Muncie comprehensive zoning ordinance from the R3 residential zone of the BV variety business zone parcel. And this is where they were wanting that lady to go back to the BZA and get like approval or something. I remember this. It'll be interesting to see what goes on with that. She didn't get a favorable recommendation, and they wanted her to go back and get a favorable recommendation. So I don't know if she's done that, if that will have happened already, or if they'll keep that tabled. They just, I think, tabled that. Yeah, they just tabled that in November. So we've got a long time before anything happens with that. So then that'll be that. Other business, that's public citizen comment. And so that'll be that. Now, I do want to tell everybody that I believe that tomorrow's meeting will be kind of a long one. So we will be live tomorrow when the meeting ends. I don't know that we'll be home right at 9. I think it might be more like 9:30 or maybe 10. But I'm pretty sure that Audie's going to come on with us and talk about what goes on in the meeting. We'll have a couple interesting points to talk about because there are a couple of important things to discuss. So we will be live. Just watch that meeting and then know that it takes me roughly, I'd say, just to be on the safe side, 15 minutes to get from City Hall to the house and then to get set up. So I always say about 20 to 30 minutes from the time the meeting ends to the time we go live. So if the meeting ends before 9, we'll go live at 9. If the meeting ends at 9, we'll go live at 9:30. If the meeting ends at 9:30, we'll go live at 10, and so on and so forth. So we'll do that. So that's that for the Muncie City Council meeting. Now, I want to talk about a couple of other quick things before we roll out of here. Henry County, whole bunch of craziness is going on in Henry County. Bobby Plummer is now no longer the commissioner. She has put in for the caucus. So Bobby Plummer in Henry County, the commissioners were Bobby Plummer, Steve Dellinger, Dellinger, I don't know if I say his name right, and Joel Wiley. Okay. Joel Wiley is and has been a friend of Sheriff Sproles. So he would almost always vote with Sproles. Dellinger and Bobby were there to balance that out and make sure that Sproles was kind of kept in check. Well, Susan Hoon the Loon, who was a Henry County councilor, ran for commissioner against her friend Bobby Plummer because Sproles put her up to it. And she beat Bobby. That's a horrible thing. Citizens of Henry County do not realize how they've screwed up, because now it's going to be Susan Hoon the Loon, and Wiley voting for every single thing that Sproles wants. This is going to be a disaster of epic proportions. He's already bought a bunch of cars that he didn't get approved for, and he's making comments like, oh, let's see what the commissioners say about this. I bet they're going to be pissed. Making comments like that. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Bobby did put in to caucus in for Hoon the Loon's seat that she left from the council. They will be caucusing tomorrow, so we will have an answer. Now, everybody's like, she's a shoo-in, right? She's the only person? Nope. Ed Tarantino. Everybody remember that dude? Ed Tarantino decided to put in for it. And that's a whole Susan Hoon, John Sproles thing. He did that just for their benefit, to try to hurt Bobby. From everything I'm hearing, the party is the caucus will go Bobby's way. So Bobby will be able to help out a little bit to keep things on the straight and narrow, but it's definitely going to be a wild ride to see what goes on with Sproles being able to get anything and everything he wants from the commissioners for the next 4 years. Ed Tarantino.
All these Eds in county government all over the place around here really have me kind of worried.
I know, man.
Because number 4 over here is named Ed.
Ed?
Yeah.
Number 4?
Yeah. I have Eddie running around here.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
causing
right.
mayhem and destruction.
Yeah.
Maybe because we call him Eddie and not Ed, it's okay.
Right.
Do you think that makes a difference?
Or
should I start worrying?
Yeah, I think you should start worrying.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I definitely think you're in trouble. I was like, what are you talking about? That's hilarious. So that will be interesting. Also, I hate to hear about this, and this is a very sad thing. It's not a funny thing at all, and it's way crazy. But I am going to be working on hold on. Hold on. I just received a message, but I don't know what it's from. Interesting. I'm interested to know who that's about. Okay. So I received an email, a correspondence rather. That's not an email. I guess that there has been a police officer here in Indiana that was shot. Let me see here. Does Indiana, do we have it? We do. That's crazy. I didn't know that we had I did not know that there was an Orange County, Indiana. Did you know that? An Orange County? Roofer Rob? Who's Roofer Rob? Roofer Rob's wife. Who's that? Okay, so apparently there was a deputy that was shot. I don't know if he was killed. But there was a man that shot a deputy in Orange County. Well, what I'm hearing is it appears as though he was arrested in Wayne County. And I'll find out about that. He was arrested in Wayne County around December 5th for possession and an OWI, and was released around December 7th. It appears that he then was arrested in Henry County on or about December 10th for disorderly conduct. And he pled guilty to something on December 13th. And he was released with no mention or hold being placed on him for being on pretrial release for Wayne County charges. He then ends up shooting down in George County and shoots the deputy. So there's some question on whether or not he should have been in jail. And so I don't know. I didn't know anything about all of this. This just got brought to my attention, and someone said that I need to listen to this. All right, so Kate's found this, pulled this up. Man, it's so good to have Kate here. I will always say, always. So
I've also put up the link for the My Case information on this gentleman,
okay.
asshole person.
Yeah.
Sorry, gentleman's not the right word. Yeah, so the My Case is in the private chat
good.
for you too.
Over there too. Good. Thank you. I will look that up. Okay. So this was the, I guess, recent news. This was from 6 hours ago. Suspect in shooting of Southern Indiana deputy killed by police in Louisville, police say. Okay. This is interesting. The suspect in the shooting of a Southern Indiana deputy was shot and killed by police on Saturday night, according to Indiana State Police. Indiana State Police said Austin Sheppers, 33, shot Orange County Sheriff's Deputy Zach Andre during a traffic stop on Highway 150 near West Baden on Friday at 12:30 a.m. Police were searching for Sheppers ever since the shooting happened. He was believed to be in New Albany or the greater Louisville area. ISP said police located Sheppers in the 3700 block of Wheeler Avenue near Interstate 264 in the backyard of a home. LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey said Sheppers shot at officers. Multiple LMPD officers and U.S. Marshals deputies returned fire. Sheppers died at the scene. There was heavy police presence in the area. No police officers or people in the area were injured in the shooting, according to police. Humphrey said there is a body-worn camera footage from the shooting. LMPD plans to release the footage within 10 business days. Okay. And I know those are graphic and they're hard to watch, but when that is released, we will be releasing that here. Police said Saturday that Sheppers shot Andre 4 times and left him lying in the roadway. What a piece of shit. According to ISP Master Trooper Philip Hensley, Andre underwent surgery Friday morning, and the surgeon was very pleased with the outcome. He is currently in critical but stable condition. Anyone with information to call is asked to call Crime Stoppers in Louisville. They can also submit anonymous tips through the department's tip portal. Okay, well, look at this guy. What an absolute shithead. So, well, look, you know, you get what you get and you can't throw a fit. I guess it is what it is. You know? It is what it is. Let's see the my case. What's this? Okay. And see here. Get this to work. First name. Okay. Looks like State of Indiana versus Austin Shepherds. Let's see, what is this? Criminal misdemeanor. Disorderly conduct. 12/9/2024. I don't understand. Man, they move things along in Henry County. This is weird and questionable. And I think that someone needs to be questioning what's going on with the prosecutor's office down there. Because the guy was arrested. The guy was arrested sometime like after the 7th of December, and he pled guilty by the 13th and was released. Term 180 days, jail credit 3 days, suspended 174. I mean, like, look, I don't care. I mean, disorderly conduct is not a major charge. So, like, I get it. He's not going to do hard time for disorderly conduct. But the fact that he was out on another arrest from Wayne County, and then he picked this charge up, they should not have just released him. This is a shame. I mean, thank God that deputy's going to live. I guess that's all I'm going to say about that. No, the prosecutor's office wouldn't have any control over him being released. But I question. I mean, like, look, one of the complaints of the criminal justice system is everything takes too long. but I question someone being arrested on the 9th and the case being charged and completely adjudicated, being done. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Less than a week later. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's arrested Monday, and by Friday they're done.
Yeah, that's nuts.
December 9th is a Monday. The 13th is a Friday.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Wild.
That is nothing. That would never happen in Delaware County. Holy crap. That is nuts. Well, anything is possible in Indiana. That is true. So I don't know. Someone just messaged me about this tonight and said that I think there's more to it. There's also, for any of you people in Muncie, do you know if I said to you, first of all, there's a bunch of questions about the Muncie Land Bank going on. And I know it's going to break hearts here. No, the question isn't, should Ridenauer have appointed Webb? Everyone's fine. I'm fine with the appointment of Webb. But there are some other questions going on about the land bank, about what's happening. But if I say to you people of Muncie, do any of you know what I'm talking about if I say the party house on Granville? Do you know what I'm talking about if I say that to you? The party house on Granville. So there's this house on Granville that there's all these parties that are attended, and they always get really wild, and a bunch of people in the neighborhood is griping about them. And someone these people keep bringing Dustin Clark's name up in it. So there's some weird stuff going on with Dustin Clark. Stumblefoot, anything going on over at the what's it called? Hoosier Municipal Operations Headquarters. Ooh. Heather Brewer, that's some wild shit. So, just FYI, I am starting to look into what's going on with this party house and why Dustin's name keeps getting brought up in it. And there's definitely some new Dustin stuff happening. Also, I should have. Yes, Tweety Bird. Yes. I have received a bunch of emails. And one of those things, one of the emails mentioned what you just said there. So I'm going to be looking into that. I am going to have some records from Henry County tomorrow, which should be interesting to look through. We'll probably look through that on Tuesday because Monday night's tied up with Muncie stuff, but I should have some interesting records to go through, and it pertains to Sproles. So we'll have some Sproles Watch stuff all ready for 2025 to talk about on Tuesday. Wednesday, we've obviously got Board of Works. We've got a couple of other meetings that go on. Thursday, we should have an interesting Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting. So we've got a lot going on this week. We have a lot in store. 2025 is kicking off really hard craziness. So we will keep you guys all posted. Thank you all. Yes, the house is on Police Scanner quite often. That is exactly right. So I'm going to be looking into what's going on because somehow apparently Dustin Clark is tied to it in somehow. He lives right around the corner from there. And someone's talking about somehow he is apparently the neighborhood president, the neighborhood association president or something. I don't know. It's really weird. I'm being inundated with information, so I'm gonna have to look at it and put it all together. But all right, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. It's almost over. Have a good start back to the work week tomorrow. We're back to real life. Everyone's back to work. We've got some records from city we should be picking up. We've got some records from the county we should be picking up. We've got some records from Henry County that I know we'll have tomorrow. So it's going to be a busy week. Lots of meetings. You can watch the Delaware County Commissioners meeting here at 9 a.m. You can watch the Muncie City Council meeting starting at 6:45 here. The Commissioners meeting might be wonky with audio. I don't know. The City Council meeting shouldn't be bad. So you should, the City Council meeting will definitely be good. But we'll just have to tune in and see what goes on in the morning. We will be back here tomorrow at either 9 or sometime thereafter. So keep in mind and share this information, help it get out and spread the word. You guys hit the like button on your way out if you haven't already. Share the show with everyone you know. Take care. God bless. Have a great week, and we will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.